What is going on, everybody? My name is DJ Shirley, and I'm the owner of Speak Loud Group based here in North Texas. We're a digital advertising and marketing agency, and that's what we are at heart. But, we set back. We have a couple of other podcasts that we work on or that we produce, and we wanted to start one of our own. And we didn't want it to be all advertising and marketing. Well, that's really awesome, and we love that topic, and we think you, as business owners and organizational leaders, you might be interested in that. And we're definitely going to interject some of that as we talk to some of the people that we're going to be talking to. But what we want to dedicate this podcast to is just about business. We want to talk to varying business owners. Some may be our clients, some are just people that we've made connections with or we've reached out to come join the podcast from all different types of industries and walks of life. We're business owners. The people we're going to be talking to are business owners, and ideally, our audience is full of business owners and organizational leaders. So, we want to talk about everything that's related to that, from getting started, the idea, the concept, the initial hump of launching it and jumping into it and going full force into their business. But the next stages, we hit different stages in business. Every single one of us do. I don't care how big or small you are. You're going to continue to hit these different avenues that you're going to go down and go, never been down this road before, never had this problem before. You're gonna have to find a way to navigate through it. And we feel like that we're better together. Even though there's gonna be folks on here that are in a different industry than you, we can all learn from each other. If you've stopped learning, then you've stopped growing, is what I've always heard. And I don't care what pinnacle or apex that you've reached, we're always learning. And if you're not, then we hope that this can be a way that you can learn. So on this podcast, we're going to talk about different businesses. We're going to talk about how did they get started? What do they do to initially go to market? How did they find their first customers? How did that change as they started growing? Did they start automating things? What did they do in terms of marketing and advertising? What do they do about staffing? All those things that every single one of us have to navigate that sometimes there's questions on. When it comes to, I want to talk to a CPA and a bookkeeper, and, how did you guys get businesses to a point where they either trust you or let you handle it? What do you recommend for small and medium-sized businesses in the way of, doing it themselves, but also, starting to hire you guys when they can afford it? We're going to walk through all of those things. And I think it's going to be super beneficial. I mean, every single one of us have these questions, and sometimes we rely, on the internet, we rely on friends, we rely on other business folks that are around us to answer some of those questions. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They may be navigating the same solutions or same problems that you are as well. So we just really think that this would be a good way for us to connect. If you're interested in, being on the podcast, then for sure, reach out to us. You can shoot us a message. We'd love to chat with you and see if it makes sense to, bring you on. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. And in this first episode, we're going to talk about us, and exactly how we got started and why we got started and our background and all of those things. So, like I said, my name is DJ Shirley, and I own a company called Speak Loud Group. We're a digital marketing and advertising agency that services, small, medium-sized businesses all the way up to, large corporations and organizations. How we got started. Honestly, it's something I was doing for a long time. Yeah, kind of side hustle or whatever you want to call it. I spent a long time in construction management, mostly the restoration industry, everything from owning our own business in the restoration industry to working for one of the top three companies in the country. Opening offices for them and training and recruiting and doing those different things. That's what my life was. I've been from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've been out to Florida. I've been through Georgia, a little bit of the Carolinas, and it was always a great job as far as pay, but it wasn't what I was extremely passionate about. I was fortunate to, earn a decent income and be able to take care of my family and be able to invest in some things here and there. But through all of that, I always had a niche or a knack, if you will, for marketing and advertising. Some of the things that we had opened up and started, we did some photography things. We had a couple of retail locations. There were just things that we did that I ran. I had to figure out how to market and advertise it. Ever since I can remember as a kid, I had a camera in my hand. I always enjoyed taking photos. I liked shooting video, and that just kind of played into some of those things. And even with the construction groups we were with, I loved bringing the drone out and having a camera or shooting some video and using it on social platforms or for websites. And but I never really looked at it as a career opportunity. I just thought it was something fun that I enjoyed to do. It was more of a hobby. Moved to the Wiley area in North Texas. And when I moved there, I started getting to know some of the folks in the community, and some of them were business owners, some of them were not. And I just saw kind of a gap that was there. I didn't really think there was anyone in that space that was doing everything that I felt like I might be able to do. This is right in the kind of COVID shutdown for everybody, and during that time, I think we all had more time to think. and to sit back and kind of wonder and maybe dream a little bit. Sat down with my wife and started talking to her, and I was like, you know what? I mean, this is something that I think that we could start on the side, and try to gather up some business and see what kind of interest is there. And what do you think? And she was like, I mean, it's something you're extremely passionate about. It's something that you're good at. Why not? And so we did that. Started it kind of on the side. I was still working in management in the construction field, mostly remote, which obviously gave me a little more time with less commute and things like that, that I could work on these things. And I brought our first couple of clients on, just folks that were local to the community that had businesses that needed help with marketing and advertising. And through that, the community that we're in is a kind of a tight knit, business community. Everyone knows each other for the most part. It's a large town, but a small town feel. And so it kind of started spreading a bit. We got involved in the Chamber of Commerce. We got involved with some of the functions going on around the city, and just started meeting different business owners. And we did it kind of, I guess, the old fashioned way, real guerrilla style of, just being out there, and network marketing, I guess is what you can call it. And people started seeing our ads that were out there. We run ads on basically any digital platform that's out there. We shoot video for mostly the purpose of running those ads. And people started seeing these videos for these different companies, and then they're being asked, who's doing that for you? They started seeing ads, who's doing that for you? And, kind of the fingers were pointed back at us. In the beginning, it was completely myself. I didn't have any help. I was shooting video. I was posting ads. I was, checking ads and updating ads. I was doing all of it. And pretty quickly, we had goals, right? Every business does when they start up. We're like, well, we want to, hit this number and hit that number. And then we started looking at very quickly within a couple of months of, this is I'm basically working two full-time jobs. I'm still working the construction management deal, 8 to 5, and then jumping right into this stuff and managing it. And one client turned into two or three, and 3 to 4 or 5, and it was like, okay, now it's getting really serious. And sat down, my wife and I talked again. We said, what do we want to do? And the answer for both of us was like, it's gone really well with very little of my time. Um, what if we really kind of spread our wings? Like, what could this really turn into? And we made the decision that I was going to leave. We actually went on vacation with a group of friends, and that was our time to really kind of think about it. And we made the decision on that vacation to jump into it full time. Of course, we set goals. We had some money in savings that we said, look, we can, go through X amount of dollars in savings to help, offset bills and cover bills and things like that. And let's give it, 6 months to a year and, see what happens. You fast forward a little bit, and again, those 3 to 4 clients turn into 5 or 6, and then 7 or 8, and 8 to 10. And really quickly, we're looking down, going like, we just hit our 6 month goal, and we're 30 to 60 days in. And we were blown away. The response from the community, it was something that was needed, that most folks in the small and medium sized business space didn't really understand or know how to do for sure themselves. And then for us to come in, we made our mark by, being affordable and being willing to really connect with the businesses because we care. We genuinely want to see their marketing do well. We genuinely want to see their advertising do well. We want to see their business grow. For us, as a business grows, ideally their budget grows as well. And they want to do more with us. They want to spend more because it's working. And that's been our mantra kind of from the beginning. We knew that even from my construction days, that there were agencies out there that, their starting retainer was, $5,000 to $7,000 a month, not including any type of ad spend or maybe some video production, but very little. And we wanted to be more affordable than that. We knew our community here, there's not many businesses that could afford that. So we could find our space, and it worked. But you keep fast forwarding, we got to the beginning of the next year, and we said, man, like we're coming up on a year, like we've got to continue to maintain this growth. Like we have to have some help. So the search kind of began for the number one thing I needed help with was, our ad side. Ads, to do them correctly, they have to not only be launched, it's a constant kind of management cycle. Like the copy that's in there, the text, it has to be changed and swapped. The headlines have to be swapped and changed. Landing pages need to be tweaked. Not even touching the creative from, graphics and video and different clips and, what's working, what's not working. It just needs constant maintenance. And for us to continue to grow the business, I still needed to be out there meeting new people and doing the things in the community. So we made the decision after a fairly lengthy search of, we found the team members that we wanted to bring on. And we were extremely fortunate that we essentially hit the ground running. I mean, I don't want to make it out like it was easy. Anytime you hand anything off that you're used to doing, you're concerned, because you have a level of like quality and execution that you want to continue to see happen. And you know that your clients are going to expect to see happen. And there were some bumps here and there, mostly from like a creative side with graphics. We would have certain clients that, obviously branding is very important to them. So, sometimes a new graphic would be rotated in that was maybe not exactly on brand. The colors were different and maybe it was a stock photo or something like that. Our team was doing to the best of their ability what we'd asked them to do. If rotate the creative when you feel like it needs to be rotated. We're in constant communication with each other through we use Slack. We're constantly going back and forth on, here's the approvals and what do you think and what do you think about this and these numbers and that numbers. But there's things that just happen, so those were the struggle moments for the first probably couple of months of just them, really us really getting honed in with them and making sure that we had the systems and processes in place for them to, if there was hard approvals that needed to get done, like do not post anything until, we've approved for this client or that client. We did those things and we knocked those things out. There's still things that pop up. There would be certain client accounts that are not performing, for a couple of days the way that we feel like they should. And part of that's just the nature of digital marketing and advertising. You can have kind of lulls and ups and downs with just the way the algorithm is working and the way the ad spend is working. We do our best to minimize that. That's our job. Our job, and we tell clients this, is we're supposed to be smarter than your money. So for us to watch those trends and to see what's happening and make those adjustments, that's what we're doing. But that was a huge move for us to be able to do that, and it offloaded some of that work from the daily maintenance that me climbing into those ad accounts every single day, especially when it started growing to 15 and 20 accounts. Those things still need to be done, but I also still need to go out and we needed to get video done, we needed to meet with clients, we needed to have different things going on, and that was huge for us and a big win for us to do that. And it was scary because it was a huge expense for us to go that route and to bring those team members on. Fast forwarding a little bit more, all of our clients, marketing and advertising, like we wanted a way to track better what we were doing for them. And then we also wanted a way to try to automate some of those processes. So we, again, went on another search. This is fast forwarding about 6 or 8 months forward from bringing the team on. And we started looking for, a CRM platform that could house our personal CRM, but then also act as a mini CRM for our clients, or at least a database for our clients. And we landed on we landed on a piece of software called Go High Level that's actually based here in Dallas, which we didn't know at the time, but we do now. And it can do a lot of those things. It can be a database for our clients, but it can also automate a lot of those steps. It's fairly easy to navigate. We've spent a lot of time. I think anyone at its root form could probably go in and figure out how to do a couple of things in it, but we've gotten we did a really deep dive on trying to figure out how do we make these connections work? How do we do lead verification through it? How do we do reputation management through it? How do we connect lead forms and quizzes and all these different things? Can we do text automation? Can we do email automation? And the answer was yes. It just has to be built out correctly. And so we rolled that out, and it was a huge win for all of our current clients because it meant that we could do more with what we already had. And we made the decision, it was something that at its base form, we didn't want to upsell our clients on some new piece of software. We very easily could have. We could have went to all of them and said, hey, we're capable of doing X, Y, and Z now, or is that something that you're interested in? There are some services that we're working on inside of that platform that we will offer as an additional service because it is very involved and takes, a decent amount of time to build out and also maintain. But at its root form of like, this is where the leads come in and we're able to track them there. And we can also do some base level automation with lead verification. That was just something that we included as kind of a thank you for all of our clients that have been with us, especially the ones that have been with us, since day one. We've been very fortunate that in our industry, I don't know what the exact churn rate is, but we've been very fortunate that we have, anywhere from like an 80 to 90%, I would say probably closer to 90% year over year retention rate. And that's just testimony to us genuinely caring, us being affordable, and us implementing things that make our services better kind of along the way. So, but going into kind of, fast forwarding, where we're at now is continuing to maintain our growth year over year over year. Is not a challenge per se, but we're at a point now where we're wanting to continue to scale. And for us to continue to scale, it is looking at our next pieces to our puzzle. And that looks like a couple of different things. One, it looks like us bringing in additional, I don't want to call it sales staff because I really am kind of anti sales, even though it was my career in construction for a really long time. I don't want to sell a client on our services. I want them to genuinely see the benefit of what we do and that they need us, and understand that, because that would be a much better relationship than us kind of selling somebody on something temporarily. But bringing someone in that can do those networking things, bringing someone in that is a small duplication of myself, that understands our field, is versed, is knowledgeable, and that could go involve themselves in other communities that are nearby. Of course, we can spread our wings. We can run ads for ourselves in any city, in any country that we wanted to. We have clients outside of Texas. We have clients outside of the United States. But for us to do that, I don't know, we lose a little bit of the personal touch, and I'm sure it's something that will, roll out at some point, to go even broader. But we have not even really expanded our reach beyond our local couple of city area. And we want to. So that's kind of one of the things that's on our radar, is bringing someone in that can essentially duplicate what I was doing in the beginning and still do to this day. Getting involved in the Chamber of Commerce, is going to the networking events. I don't want to say knocking on doors, but in a sense, going in and meeting business owners where they are and saying, hey, just want to introduce ourselves. This is what we do. If it's something you're ever looking at, we'd love to have a conversation with you. That's it. We do a consultation, is something we offer for free, to just kind of know a little bit more about their business. We did not niche down. A lot of agencies do. They go after dental or construction or HVAC or something like that. Our kind of mantra was, if we feel like we can bring value, then we will. If we don't feel like that we can help them, or we don't feel like marketing and advertising on the platforms that we do are beneficial to them, then we'll kind of send them on their way and give them the best advice that we can. And that's been fruitful. So we're going to stick with that. But those are that next move is one of those that we're looking at, of building out a structure. And these are the challenges that you come across as a business owner. What does that pay structure look like? And what all are their responsibilities? And that's what we're working through right now. What would that person do on a day-to-day basis? Beyond the marketing, what else would they do? Would they handle any of the creative? Would they handle any of the content creation pieces? What would they do? And I think it really depends on the person, but it's the scope. So we want to make sure that we have that figured out. If they are quote unquote selling services, is there a commission structure that's involved, or a bonus structure that's involved on the monthly recurring? How do we work that out? And those are the challenges that I think any business owner goes through, especially when it's creating something brand new. So we're navigating that and trying to figure that out. And it's kind of we don't want to throw things against the wall and see what sticks. We want to genuinely have really good thought that goes into it, and try to figure out something that is duplicatable as well, because it won't just be once that we do this. We plan on doing this multiple times and maybe multiple areas, depending on how the business grows. On the other side of that is we're looking at the content creation pieces. We do offer videography, we offer photography, we do graphic creation, but duplicating that. And I cannot always be the one to go out and shoot videos. And I'm currently not. We have some other folks that we bring in, depending on the video shoot, depending on the location, the size of the project, all those things. We'll bring in additional hands to help us with those things. But we're looking at, a little bit further down the road. Do we want a full-time videographer, on our staff that could also handle some photos? They're two really different roles, but also those folks typically understand you can find the right person that is capable of handling some photography task, but also videography task, and maybe some of the editing. That was another thing that we did, and I forgot to mention that. But another thing that we did is we brought in. We have a couple different editors on the video side that we work with, and that was another thing that I was doing. It took a lot of time to do editing correctly and to do it right. Most of our videos, if not all of them, are shot for the purpose of running ads. I think I mentioned that, but we want there still to be quality there. We want them to feel like a production. We are hired. I tell folks this all the time, and we kind of laugh about it, that we're hired probably for our creativity. Sometimes more than anything else. We have a really fun time sitting back going, okay, your business does X, Y, or Z, but how do we promote that without saying, hey, come buy my stuff or come shop at my store? So we kind of pride ourselves in, we're able to sit back and whiteboard ideas on how could we make this emotional or entertaining or humorous. How can we do that so that way the audience is able to connect with their business without feeling like they're being sold something? And I think that that's important. And we've seen really, really good success with doing that. We have a particular client that almost every single video we put out for them is humorous. And they've asked us, other people have asked us, where do these ideas come from? And the answer is, our brains can be a scary place sometimes. We come up with our best ideas when we're not doing anything at all. And that's the genuine truth. I'll be sitting around the house or, relaxing, doing something with our kids, and an idea will come to me and I'll pull out my phone and kind of type it in my notes, and then go back to it and kind of really start elaborating on it and what would that look like. And that's what we want to be. We want to be known as an agency that can be creative and help a business get outside the box. But again, I don't want these podcasts to be overly about the individual businesses that you're hearing about. I want you to just understand, and people listening, to hear the struggles and how you got from point A to point B, and then how you're planning to get to point C. And this is just a little bit of our story. So, I want everyone that comes on here to be as vulnerable as they can. And that's our story. That's where we are now. We just celebrated 3 years of doing this, and we have 30-ish clients right now on a regular basis. That number kind of changes from month to month, just depending on certain projects. We have some that we do certain things for certain months out of the year, but the lion's share of our clients, they're with us all year long. We have campaigns running for them and automations running for them. And it's a lot. When we sit back, we have the responsibility of knowing that a business's marketing and advertising program is on our shoulders. To take them to their next level, we get to be a part of that. And for that, we're grateful and humbled and scared. No, I wouldn't say scared. We're pretty confident in what we do. But it's a fun journey to be on, and being in business and being an entrepreneur is something that I wouldn't trade anything for. I was definitely able to buy back, some of that time with my family, and they're number one. They are who comes first, and that's the truest statement I could probably make. And sure, the life of a business owner and entrepreneur and leader in their own organization is it's hectic at times. It is spending time with the kiddos and your spouse, and then, maybe breaking out a laptop at 9 or 10 o'clock at night and hammering out some things ahead of the day before. And then as things continue to grow, you learn and have to be a little more efficient and how you plan your time and how you plan your days. And I tell tell people all the time, like, I'll pull out my phone and be like, I live and die by this calendar. If it's not on my calendar, I don't know to be there. And so I tell people that, send me a calendar invite, let me know. And that way I can plan my day and my week effectively and my month effectively, to be honest. But it's a journey, and it's constantly changing and constantly evolving and moving. And there's always little curveballs that get thrown at you, either last minute things or something happens in the business or tax time. We all love that time of year. There's just different things that happen. And I think that we have to learn to adapt, and we have to navigate those situations. I think that, of course, we can let it be overwhelming. We can let it be stressful. But we also have to step back and realize that, we have an opportunity in front of us, that every obstacle, every roadblock is genuinely an opportunity. That how are you going to react to that situation? Are you going to react negatively? Are you going to allow it to affect the rest of your day? Are you going to allow it to impact your family? Or are you going to go figure it out like you did from day one? And I think as long as we keep that perspective as business owners, we can really change things, and we can really move things in a positive direction for not only ourselves but our legacy, for our family, and our family's family. I mean, that's what we think about. Another thing that we're really big on is we are huge on using our abilities and our talents to give back. We regularly do things that do not check a box, that do not get an invoice submitted. And a lot of those things are, I wouldn't say kept quiet, because there's really no reason. But when asked, well, how do you want us to, shout you out or give credit? We're just like, look, that's not necessary. I mean, if someone genuinely wants to know who shot that video or who did the photography or who ran the promotion, they could find out. They could ask the right people, and then they could come back to us and say, hey, we heard that you did this. But genuinely, we're not looking for that type of spotlight. We're we love our ISD here where we're at. Both of my kiddos are obviously in the ISD. One of them will wind up making all the way through that ISD. One was already at her last year of elementary when we moved here, and then now she's a sophomore. Will be a junior next year, which is crazy enough. It is. But we give back through the ISD. We have a lot of great nonprofits that are here locally that we enjoy giving back to. I have to be careful because we are known to do that, and so I think as a business owner, you have to be guarded. You have to know the right things to say yes to and the right things to say no to. You just have to use your best discernment or judgment in those situations. But that's just something we personally chose to do, is that we want to give back where we can. And if that is in the way of capturing moments one way or the other, videography, photography, that otherwise would have not been captured, or would not have been captured outside of cell phones being in the room, or we just chose that if we can do it and we're available, then we will. And that goes from everything from, like I mentioned, the ISD to food banks to, anything else. We've done some stuff with um, a lot of folks, and we're honored. Honestly, we're honored to be able to do that. We typically do not release those things from our pages. They're not in a showcase somewhere. It's given to those organizations to use how they would see fitting. And as our client base grows, and as our revenue grows, and as our business grows, we're able to do more and more of that. Typically every year we do something with teachers as a give back. There's just different things, and we're going to change that up every year. We love being able to do those things, and we'll continue to be able to do those things. But if I had, any one piece of advice, and this is something I plan on asking, everyone that I have on the podcast, if there's any one piece of advice that I could give to either someone just starting a business or someone struggling in their business, it would honestly be, there's so many things, but I would say it would be do it. And I know it sounds a cliche, but just do it. And that, remember why you did it to begin with, why you had the idea or the vision or the dream to do it in the first place, and keep that in mind along the way. I don't care how big your business is or how big your organization gets. Keep that at the forefront of why you do what you do and why you wanted to do what you do. And when those moments happen, it's all about how you react. I think it's perfectly normal and very human of us to have the initial reaction of what in the world is going on, and maybe have a mini freak out and maybe a little mini stress moment. But then I think about what separates the most successful from moderately successful is how we react in those moments, of navigating those moments. It's the easy moments that I call them, like the mountaintop moments. The mountaintop moments are easy because it's the wins, it's the successes, it's the highs of the high, it's the big check, it's the pat on the back, it's the new client. Those are the mountaintops, those are the winning moments. It's the valley moments that are the lowest of low, the gut punches that happen, an employee leaving, a big tax bill you weren't expecting, an unexpected expense, a client leaving, multiple clients leaving. Not great news, right? It's how we react in both of those moments, but I think almost more specifically, the valley moments of how we're able to bounce back. And that would be my encouragement. If I had to give one piece of advice, it would be that. Make sure that you are ready to react to those kind of valley moments, and allow yourself a moment, but then remember that you're the leader. Remember that it's your job, and there was a reason why you started doing this in the very beginning. So that is going to be episode one. Episode one of this podcast that I have yet to even name. But it will be. Before this goes up, there will be a name attached to it, and I'm excited. I already have a few folks in mind that I would like to have on the first couple of episodes that are in cool businesses, that are doing great things for their businesses, for their community, and we're going to work on getting those scheduled, and we're going to get this thing going. And again, if this is something that you would be interested in being a part of, get in touch with us. Our contact info will be all over. Message us, reach out, and we'd be happy to chat and see if getting you on here would be something that works. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm looking forward to this journey, and I hope you are too, and we'll see you in the next episode.